Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. So I hope you all are doing great today. So I'm really excited to have you all with us today. My name is Suhani Srivastava, and I'll be your host for this session. And I work closely with the cybersecurity and compliance experts across the industry, I'll say, helping enterprises to navigate evolving security challenges with confidence and clarity. So uh, I guess more people are joining. So please drop your names and cities. That would be very great for us to know that how far you people are coming from. And I guess you already know the title of the webinar, that is Security Hardening at Scale, that is CIS, NIST, and PCI compliance in hours, not months. So it is a practical roadmap for Indian enterprises to automate compliance in the industry benchmark. If I'll talk about most of the people are still relying on manual audits and you can say static checklists. It's time to level up. So we need to discover how to build up a real-time scalable compliance strategy across your entire ecosystem, IT ecosystem without chaos. Okay, so many more people are joining, sir. Thank you all for joining. If I'll talk about today's session, so it's like in today's dynamic threat landscape, managing security compliance is becoming increasingly complex. So an Indian enterprise, you can say, navigate growingly regulatory mandates and hybrid IT infrastructures. Outdated methods like spreadsheet and siloed audit simply don't cut it. So we are here to discover how forward-thinking organizations are leveraging automation and real-time insights, like to consistently meet CIS, NIST, and PCI benchmarks across complex environments in a fraction of the traditional time. So, like whether you are on a cloud, hybrid, or a legacy environment, this session will empower you, and it's like a clear, sustainable strategy for achieving a continuous compliance minus the manual button. So I guess there are some things that I want to say. This session is getting recorded. So if anyone wants the recording, we'll be sending you all the recordings first of all. And if you feel like, okay, Mayank is saying hi, Mayank. And if you are facing any kind of a technical issue in between this webinar, just drop a single message on the chat box. Our team is there to help you out. Or any kind of issue, you can just drop out. And any questions in between the webinar, please drop your question in the chat box. We are there to like answer, but after the webinar, Brijesh sir is there to answer. So I'll talk about the key takeaways of this webinar. So automated, I'll say automate security hardening. It's like replacing the slow manual process with system-wide complex enforcement, achieving continuous and audit readiness, that is real-time compliance tracking and reporting across your IT assets. Gain centralized visibility, that is spotting misconfigurations, excessive privilege, and drift across your environments. And we'll be talking about the eliminating audit gaps, that is reducing human errors, documenting delays, and last-minute surprises. We also be taking up this zero support trust, that is enhancing identity, configuration, and access hygiene across your IT states. So now I'll move to our speaker of the day, that is Brijesh sir, Brijesh Mishrra. He's an Asia Sales Director, and he's leading the cybersecurity from last 18 plus years of experience. So very excited to welcome you, Brijesh sir. A cybersecurity veteran you are. Sorry. You were saying something, sir. I'm so sorry. Okay.
No, go on.
So he's a cybersecurity veteran who helped enterprises across Asia modernize their compliance strategies and adopt scalable, secure architecture. Brijesh will share actionable insights, real-world examples, and expert guidance to help your organizations move from reactive to proactive compliance. Over to you, Brijesh, sir. Thank you.
Hi, Suhani. Thank you so very much. And I think the summary that you gave was pretty fantastic. You have summarized the entire 1 hour conversation in a pretty good pointers. I hope you can hear me and my screen is visible.
Yeah, sure, sir.
All right. So once again, I welcome all the delegates, all the attendees. Thank you so much for your time today. As Suhani mentioned, the subject and the topic for today's webinar is security hardening at scale. And how can we help you meet your CIS compliance, NIST, and PCI DSS compliances in hours, not in months and not in years? Why in hours? Because we can do automated security hardening and automated remediations based on CIS benchmarks, based on NIST framework, based on PCI DSS processes across industries, whether you are a bank, insurance, any telcos, government, healthcare, media, across enterprises, we can help you that. My name is Brijesh Mishrra, and I manage the sales and client relation for India and Asia region. All right, before I just straight away jump to the topic, let me give you the context for SecHard. If you see the company name and logo itself, Sec is in bold. Sec stands for security, and hard stands for hardening. That's how we named our company after, and we started in 2019, automated security hardening and remediations. So this is what we do, guys. Let me talk about the agenda. So agenda is all about security hardening, all about the compliances that we're going to talk about. What are the challenges of the security hardening? What is the importance? Why should a CISO care about hardening? What is different analysts such as Gartner, Verizon, KuppingerCole talking about security configuration management? And after that, we will present a SecHard solution. How do we solve this particular problem? Then there would be a quick technical demo by my colleague, Mr. Jihat. Jihat is our Chief Product Officer. He's based out of our Dubai office, and he's the one who has developed the product. So Jihat is here with me, and we'll leave some time for question and answer as well. All right. So let me begin, okay? And this is an eye-opener, guys. You see this image? This is a complete mosquito device. You see the entire liquidator is full of all the liquids, and this light is on the third mode. It's on the highest mode. Despite being such a robust tool whose job is to be as a mosquito repellent, you see a mosquito is thriving, is sitting on the deck without being bothered, without being affected. Why is it happening? This was a post put on LinkedIn. This is what the condition of cybersecurity today. Our businesses, CIOs, CISOs have invested millions of dollars, crore rupees, millions of dollars on leading tools such as firewalls, EDR, SIM tools, cloud security, identity and access management, you name it, they have it. Still, India is one of the top 5 cyber attackers in the entire world. The kind of number of cyber attack that we face. Why? We have thousands of assets in our corporate network, operating systems, servers, network devices, firewall. But the problem is they're misconfigured. They're absolutely misconfigured. They have a poor hygiene. All the IT assets you talk about, whether operating systems, databases, servers, network devices, is poorly maintained and poor hygiene. If they're misconfigured, that means all the vulnerabilities exist in those devices and assets. They are left unmonitored. They're not aligned with the threat landscape. This is the reason, despite investing the millions of dollars in all other tools, we still have a high persistent cyber threat, one of the top 5 in the world. A top tier solution without proper configuration. When I say configuration, I'm talking about hardening. Without proper configuration, it's like a glowing liquidator, impressive but ineffective. All right. I'll give you another example. Okay, I've not put this slide. Remember 2020 when the COVID was at a peak? We used to wear masks. We used to sanitize our hands. We used to maintain a social distance. Why do we use to sanitize our hands? Because one single COVID virus potentially could kill us. That was the potential, that was a risk potential of that particular virus could kill us. That's why we used to sanitize our hands so that we maintain the hygiene, the personal hygiene. We wear a mask so that we maintain a personal hygiene. We maintain a social distance, we maintain a personal hygiene. This is what security hardening is all about, my friends. It's about maintaining a cyber posture and cyber hygiene in your corporate network, hardening all your assets, your devices, your databases to its best level based on CIS benchmark, based on any benchmark that you follow. All right. Again, so we have EDR, SIM tools, cloud, firewall, IDAM fails. But when we do an analysis, when we scan their network and try to find out based on CIS benchmark, we try to calculate what is a risk score. We find that this is one of the example from one of our insurance company. We find that there are 1,300 plus misconfigurations in the network. What does it mean for cyber attackers? For cyber attacker, it means there are 1,300 doors open for cyber attackers to get into your network. Before it gets converted into ransomware, before it gets converted into data breach or financial breach, this means 1,300 plus misconfiguration means there are 1,300 doors open for the cyber attackers to get into my network. That means we have to reduce our threat, the surface, the threat surface as low as possible, as much as we can do. All right. Think about it, okay? We all talk about vulnerabilities in our system. We have tools that only counts how many vulnerabilities are there in my network. But 80% of the cyber attackers, they exploit the misconfigurations and weak security settings in the network. This is the 10%, this is 90%. The misconfigurations, weak security settings, awareness, inadequate training. So 80% of the cyber attackers, they exploit the misconfigurations in the network to get into the network. All right. So this is what the Gartners and Verizons of the world are talking about. Gartner highlighted that 61% of security leaders experienced a breach due to failed or misconfiguration controls in 2024. This is a data by the Gartner. 61% is a huge number. And just because of the cyber hygiene was not maintained, cyber posture was not built, they failed, breaches due to misconfiguration controls. Let's talk about Verizon. Verizon is talking about 2025 data. Again, they said out of 12,195 confirmed breaches, 60% had a human error component, including misconfigured system. 12,000 breaches, 12,195 breaches, 60% had a human error, including misconfigured system. How do they currently do the hardening? They do a manual hardening. When I was in ET CISO SecuFest event in the month of March 2025, there were almost 200 CISOs. I managed to speak to at least 80 to 85 CISOs who came to our booth. So how do you currently meet your CIS benchmark? And how do you currently do the hardening? They only gave me two answers. Said, Ben, either we have outsourced it to somebody else or my team is doing a manual hardening. Manual hardening is slow. It is error prone. It is inconsistent. This is what it's saying. 60% had a human error component, including misconfigured systems. Again, another report by Gartner in 25, 99% of the cloud breaches will be due to customer misconfigurations of their systems. 99% of the cloud breaches. So the way we used to sanitize our hands during those threat time, cyber threats are continuously evolving. We need to have a cyber hygiene platform, cyber posture in our security in our network to avoid these kind of breaches? All right, feel free to ask me a question, guys. Now, I'll take some banking example. Indian banks are facing thousands of cyber attacks daily. Again, I said 80% of the breaches happen due to misconfiguration. Just imagine if there's a banking customer here, if by any chance your SWIFT network, your ATM infrastructure, or digital banking gets compromised by these attackers, how confident are you that your current security hardening strategy can stop it? And how are these people doing the hardening? Manual hardening. There is no automated tool except SecHard. SecHard is the only tool in the world that can do automated hardening and automated remediations of your entire IT, OT, and cloud based on CIS, based on NIST, based on PCI DSS, based on RBI guidelines, based on SWIFT guidelines, based on any compliance. Okay. Let's talk about telecom. Again, a very critical infrastructure, critical area. Just imagine if they handle billions of transactions on a daily basis. Billions of transactions. They have network. They have their hardware, software spread all across the country. Just imagine one router which is misconfigured, and attackers find one open entry point to get into your network. What kind of a downtime, if they get into a ransomware, what kind of a downtime a telecom and critical infrastructure can face? Can you ever imagine that your telecom going down for like hours and days? You cannot imagine that. Again, they're surviving because of the manual hardening. All right. Another use case for the government, very critical, because government holds national citizens record, sensitive data, national security intelligence, and critical infrastructure. If there's in most of the countries, developing countries around India, they have been compromised. Their parliaments has been compromised. In India, the AIMS Institute was compromised because of the one node that was misconfigured. So these are the severe impacts that can bring down the entire national and critical infrastructure down for the citizens. So whether you are a banking customer, telcos, mid-sized enterprise customers across any industry, security hardening is a compliance tool, and you cannot escape that. It's a compliance tool. Failing to audit would be penalized heavily in terms of the penalties, in terms of the sanctions. Anything can happen. All right. So what's the problem? Again, like I said, our digital infrastructure is robust. Especially India, we have a huge digital infrastructure, but they're misconfigured, unpatched, poorly hardened. There's a default password running, insecure service being left, manual checklist, manual hardening, no accountability for the system baseline. Attackers love misconfigurations. Why? That opens a door for him to get into the network. 1,300 misconfigurations, that means he has a 1,300 entry points. 30,000 misconfigurations, that means he has a 30,000 entry points. And guys, 80% of the Indian organizations lack automated hardening and vulnerability remediations. 80%. What happened to those 20%? Those 20% are very small. I'm talking about mid-size, mid-enterprise to enterprise customers who actually has a large IT infrastructure. They lack automated security hardening and vulnerability remediations. They do a manual remediation. Manual is error prone. I'll show you the real statistics. Okay. What is the cost? Okay. The average cost of data breach is $2.6 million in Asian region. What are the compliance failure? CIS benchmark is a globally known compliance for security hardening or security configuration management. It's a globally accepted by all the CISOs all across the globe. Then there's the NIST framework, ISO, PCI DSS compliances as well. So failing to that is a compliance failure. Why is hardening important? You cannot protect what is not properly configured. Like I showed you the first image, the liquidator, the mosquito, the machine is on the third mode. Like we have invested firewalls, EDR, all the tools. If they're not configured, you cannot protect it. You're still vulnerable for cyber attack and ransomware attack. So it enforces the baseline security according to benchmarks, CIS, NIST, ISO, RBI, SEBI, eliminates the human error. It's automated. Continuous security posture management. Once we do the implementation, it monitors the entire network continuously to make sure that security posture has been maintained. Real-time visibility plus real-time automation. Achieve compliance in hours, not in months. Okay. Just to give you a real example, this is based on CIS benchmark. I've taken an example of Windows Server. If this is my Windows Server, according to CIS, the default security score of unhardened Windows Server is only 21%. That means that 79% of the surface area of the Windows Server is vulnerable for cyber attack if you don't harden it. That is what it means. So CIS has given a security score for all the assets in the world, whether it's operating systems, whether it's a database, network devices, routers, switches, firewall, servers. They have done the security score for almost all the IT assets. So the default security score of Windows Server is only 21%. That means 79% of the threat, the surface is vulnerable for cyber attack. Let's say, for example, if Suhani is an expert cybersecurity analyst, if Suhani has to do the manual hardening for the Windows Server, according to CIS benchmark, Suhani will have to make 430 remediations on one Windows Server to do the hardening. How many? 430. How will she do that? That means Suhani has to write 430 scripts. It's a PowerShell scripts that she has to write for one Windows Server. Do you think it is easy? You need to be an expert to write those PowerShell scripts. One Windows Server 430. This is one of our existing customer, small customer. They have 1,000 desktops, 250 servers, and they have 2-member IT team. Only 2-member in the entire security. As per CIS benchmark, if they want to do the hardening, they have to make close to 1 million security hardening, 1 million remediations. That means they have to write close to 1 million PowerShell scripts manually. It's tedious, it's error prone, it is slow, it is inconsistent. SecHard can increase the hardening score from 21% to 95% in a single click, automatic and effortlessly. This is the magic. Why? All the 430 scripts based on the CIS benchmark is already a part of SecHard platform. You just click and you start, achieving the configurations and hardening, and then you publish a report. So this is the solution, guys. And it's automated and effortlessly. So this was just a Windows example, and any IT infrastructure that you have, SecHard can do the automated remediation and hardening. So let me introduce you SecHard. Okay, it's an automated hardening and remediation solution. SecHard is absolutely an agentless platform. We don't need any agent to be installed on your servers, on your databases. It's an agentless platform. We use native protocols to scan and connect your assets. WinR for Windows, SSH, Database Studio, and native protocols to connect and scan your assets. It is fully built on CIS benchmark, because CIS is the only global benchmark for security configuration management and security hardening. Our entire platform is built on CIS benchmark, which supports all the local benchmarks as well, like RBI guidelines, certain guidelines, SWIFT guidelines, everything. And automated hardening and automated remediation for unmatched cyber hygiene and zero trust enforcement. Remember cyber hygiene? how critical it is? All right, let me present you this. So guys, this is my cyber hygiene platform. On this platform, cyber hygiene platform, Sekhard has total 10 products. All these products are built by Sekhard, developed by Sekhard. The intellectual property is owned by Sekhard. They all are part of one platform. You see automated security hardening. I also have a full-blown privilege access management because I cannot help you achieve zero trust if I don't have a PAM solution. How will I monitor the least privileges? How do I do this? How would I do this session recording? How would I block a command? I can only do a PAM solution. I have a full-blown asset management, vulnerability management, key manager, TACACS, performance monitoring, syslog server, risk manager. So how does this platform work? Let's say, if as every compliance says that you must know your IT assets before you protect it. So my asset manager, it scans the entire network, discovers all the IT assets, categorizes them into different categories, triggers my PAM solution. Then my PAM solution logs into those discovered assets, looks for the least privileges, remove the weak password policies, and then triggers the hardening platform. So hardening again, it does let's say there are 5,000 assets in the network. It does the audit of all those 5,000 assets based on CIS benchmark or based on the company compliance that company follows. It does the auditing, review, and scoring. It gives a score. Like if this is my Windows server, if this is my server, what is a security score? If these are my firewalls, what is a security score? If these are my databases, what is a security score? So based on compliance that you follow, it does the review, audit, and does the score, and also publishes a gap report. Like your hardening is 22%, this is 78% is a gap report. And then the remediation happens. With a click of a button, you can start remediating. So this is a cyber hygiene platform. If the beauty is that you can pick and choose what you want to buy. If you already have a PAM solution, if you don't want PAM solution, no problem. You can pick and choose. But what I'm saying, you cannot achieve a zero trust. You cannot maintain a cyber hygiene without security hardening. Sekhard is the only platform in the world that can do automated hardening and automated remediations.
Thank you so much, Brijesh sir.